Hail, weary podcast traveler and well met. I see your adventure through the depths of the internet has led you here to sliding into the DMs. Now, this is not a podcast for the dirty boys, as the name implies, but rather a D&D advice and creative concepts podcast where these three nerds take your questions, suggestions, and pop culture influences to turn them into playable content, making goofs all along the way. This show is for everyone, from level 1 adventurers just stepping into the realm of D&D to the level 19 Dragon Slayer. Their aim is to help both players and DMs alike. Even Gary Gygax needed help sometimes. Just ask Dave Arneson. So step into our tavern, take off your cloak of Elvenkind, and spend some time sliding into the DMs.
Roll for initiative. 17.
9.
16. You barely beat me, you son of a biscuit.
I did it, finally.
You
All
done
right,
did it.
everyone. Thank you for joining us on Sliding into the DMs, your creative concept and wacky bullshit D&D podcast, where you can send in questions and we'll try to answer them as best we can. My name is Bruce. I am the mad scientist.
I am Trevor. I am your forum troll. I troll the forums to find.
I like it.
Yeah, I just came up with that one, yeah. I find random-ass weird D&D questions on forums, and then we answer those as well, so...
And now our regular co-hosts.
Oh, yes. My name is Cameron, and I'm just that guy.
Thank you for joining us today. Since I roll highest, I get to go first, and guess what, guys? We're going to Bruce's Creature Creation Corner.
Oh!
Are you ready?
We haven't done this in a while. I'm very ready.
Yes.
Ready like spaghetti.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think Cameron's experienced this.
I don't think you have. So, I have a bunch of lists that I've made. Some of them have animals. Other ones have, like, D&D classes or D&D spells. And then what we do is I have you guys roll a d20 or whatever related dice to the list. And I go through them. Whatever you roll, I pull that aspect from there, and we try to combine them into a new creature for an encounter, or a side quest, or just something to throw into your game's lore. And we go ahead and stat them out, figure out whatever special things they can do, and then I'm going to put emphasis on try to, get the sketch or drawing up of this character up on these social media pages like the Facebook page, the Instagram, the Pinterest, all those pages. We may even have this debut as a speed sketch on TikTok. So I will try and get that up pretty soon. But whatever creature we create today, I'm going to try and get that done for you. But that is the basics of what Bruce's Creature Creation Corner is about. So if you gentlemen would so kindly... we're going to start with Cameron, because this is your first time.
Ooh.
Go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Ooh.
This is going to select the animal base that we go off
He's
of.
a creature creation virgin.
Oh.
Pop your cherry. Oh, there it was. You popped it.
Oh, 5.
5. Okay, this decides the animal that we are using, and number 5 is a deer. Like a male deer, a stag.
Yeah. A buck. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, a buck. That's a better word. Okay. And now, are we going to use a spell or a weapon?
I think we let the dice decide. I'll roll a d4. If it's odds, then it'll be a spell. If it's evens, it'll be a weapon.
Okay.
You ready?
It's going to be Patronus. Watch.
It's a 3, so that's odd. So that is a spell.
Okay. A spell. Let's see. Let me get to that list. So, I need you to roll a d4 to tell which level of spell we're going to pull from on this list. And then, Cameron, I need you to roll a d12. That's the one that has a 12 on it.
I rolled a 1.
Okay. So we're going to use a 3rd level spell. And...
I rolled a 10.
A 10. That is... Dimension Door.
Oh, this is going to be a baller
So
fucking stag.
Teleporting deer.
Teleporting deer.
Look up the description for Dimension Door, and I'll look up a stag in D&D 5e stats. So what comes to mind, gentlemen? I'm thinking some kind of like fae.
Oh, definitely. Like almost like a mist, like he like fucking walks on mist kind of a thing, right?
Ooh,
And
yeah.
he's in the forest, and then just like randomly he's like, and he like disappears into his mist, and then he pops up somewhere else, and like right over your fucking right shoulder, and just boom, fucking hits you with his antlers, or
I like it.
fucking back kicks you or whatever. You want me to read Dimension Door?
Yes.
Dimension Door. You teleport yourself from your current location to another spot within range. You arrive at exactly the spot desired. It can be a place you can see, or one you can visualize, or one you can describe by stating the distance and direction, such as 200 feet straight downward or upward, to the northeast at a 45-degree angle, 300 feet. You can bring along objects as long as their weight does not exceed what you can carry. You can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller who is carrying gear up to its carrying capacity. The creature must be within 5 feet of you when you cast the spell. If you would arrive in a place that is already occupied by an object or creature, you and the creature you are traveling with will each take 4d6 force damage, and the spell fails to teleport you.
Okay. I could see this being like some kind of forest protector or guide, or like the big boss. Like you have to get to a certain part of the woods, but it's like considered haunted and protected against outsiders.
Uh-huh.
And so you have this deer now that is able to teleport through the fog and the mist.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of, this just made me think of Princess Mononoke and the spirit of the forest that turns into the Night Walker in the middle of the night. And it's the protector of the forest, and it's like a god, though, and it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's just like you said, it just poofs in the mist. It's just like, poof, there I am. And it would have to be a very powerful creature.
I agree.
Let me read you the deer stats from D&D 5e on D&D Beyond. It says the deer is a medium beast whose alignment is unaligned. Its natural armor class is 13. It only has 4 hit points. We're going to beef that up. Its speed is 50. It looks like it has a base strength of 11. Dex is 16, so it's very dexterous. Constitution is 11. Intelligence is 2, which isn't great. Its wisdom is 14, and its charisma is 5. Really?
Wise beast.
I think deer's charisma should be way up there. I mean, have you seen them?
They're fucking adorable.
Right.
How do you say no to a deer?
Right. And it says it has a passive perception of 12. It's only 10 experience points. Its proficiency is a +2 bonus.
You say no to a deer with a 30 action. By the way. That's how you do it.
Yeah, buckshot. You have to shoot him down. It's got a melee weapon attack, +2 to hit. Its reach is only 5 feet, 1 target at a time, and it only does 1d4 damage of piercing. Man, these stats are all fucked up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to beef the fuck out of this stag. So,
a godly stag, Thor's stag.
I think we go with it is fuck it. It's a magical creature we're creating. Why don't we give it a human form and a deer form, right?
Okay.
Let's just wholesale steal Princess Mononoke's fucking jam and say it is a forest spirit, but of the Feywild, and so this creature is an ethereal-looking stag. I'm thinking like, because everything in the Feywild. So the Feywild, if you don't know, Cameron, is the realm of like elves and fairies and satyrs and all those mythical creatures that you hear of in like Greek mythology and Roman mythology, like centaurs and mermaids. They all come from the Feywild, which is a dimension that, like, they call it the Veil. It's because there's a thin barrier between their dimension and ours, or their plane and ours, or whatever your main plane is in D&D. And so when you go into the Feywild, there's a lot of different weird, crazy shit that can happen. And one of the biggest things that you notice right off the bat is that all of the colors of the foliage and the flora and fauna are all wildly askew. So, like, you may see a bird that is, it's like a kind of ultraviolet color. It kind of doesn't really have a color, it just has a hue or like an aura around it. Or like a tree might not be green, it might be purple, like fluorescent purple, or fluorescent yellow, or it might be this like crazy chameleon, like a rainbow fish effect. Like, all of the foliage and stuff all has different weird aspects to it.
Very ethereal.
Yes.
So, a thought I just had. So, I've been watching this show called Shadow and Bone.
Okay.
In that they have different, basically, almost elemental sorcerers. Some control wind, some control shadow, light. But the main character is what they call a sun summoner, where instead of she like controls light, but to a very high degree. The other ones can kind of control flame and stuff. They haven't seen a sun summoner in a long time, but she always has these dreams of the stag, and it's like an all-white stag, and its antlers, instead of just coming up as antlers, actually do this crazy full wrap where they make like a circle above its head.
Ooh.
And it's got like a few like one's
strays
points like sticking off of it.
Yeah.
So my thought, because right now the stag is so weak, right? It can do Dimension Door, but really its only attack right now is its melee attack with its horns or its hooves.
Okay.
What if we also gave it like if we had its horns look like, I'm talking like a full on circle above its head, and it could do like a sunbeam attack where the sun comes through the center of that hole and it's in the circle of his head and just fucking sunbeam attack to players.
I think that would be like the daylight spell. Let me look that up real quick.
I'm thinking like Moonbeam.
Oh, like Moonbeam even.
Like Moonbeam, but just technically it's...
Yeah.
I'll show y'all what the Spirit of the Forest looks like. Now, I know if this is going to be heard audio-wise, y'all can't see what I'm showing, but this is the Spirit of the Forest from Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's got like a human face with these kind of like chicken feet.
Gross.
And these crazy weird horns. Yeah, it's a great movie. If you guys haven't seen Princess Mononoke,
I haven't. I'll have to watch that.
It's a Ghibli film. They did, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle.
I love Ghibli Puff. Okay, so reskinned Moonbeam. Moonbeam is a second level spell. Costs 1 action. It has a range of 120 feet. It's got con save and it's radiant damage, which would fit for doing a sunbeam. Let me see if there is a sunbeam. There's gotta be, right? If there's not, I'm gonna be really bummed. Sunbeam. This is a 6th level spell. It's only 60 feet. Con save, radiant. A beam of brilliant light flashes out of your hand in a 5-foot wide, 60-foot long line. Each creature in the line must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 6d8 radiant damage and is blinded until your next turn. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage and isn't blinded by the spell. Undead and oozes have disadvantage on the saving throw. You can create a new line of radiance as your action on any turn until the spell ends.
So, I'm thinking we take the stag, give it Dimension Door, we give it Sunbeam.
Okay.
It still has its melee attacks, which I think we should bump up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, obviously we need to bump up its con and give it more hit points. I mean, it depends on how... I think this is going to be a pretty big boss, so I'm thinking like 250 HP.
That sounds good to me.
I mean, if we're talking about like basically a god level creature to protect the forest,
Yeah.
250 HP, and I think what's the damage on the melee attack right now, Bruce?
It was 1d8. I think we make it 1d10, but we give it multi-attack, where it can do 3 slashes with its horns, or it can do 2 slashes with its horns, and 1, like, what would you call it? Like, battering
Kick.
with its hooves.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if you don't make it a bad guy, and you make it the good guy?
Well, yeah, that's what it is. It's a protector of the forest, so it's
Exactly.
going to react to how you react with it. So, like, if you're going through this Feywild and you're like, oh shit, look at that crazy ass deer, let's fucking kill it. And then it's going to be like, well, Sunbeam, Dimension Door, multi-attack, Dimension Door, and then you're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
It's like you were supposed to talk to it, not kill it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Multi-attack. 2 horn attacks. Which is 1d10.
And then maybe the hoof attack is like a D6.
Yeah.
It's like fucking Falcor. Grab on my back and I'll dimension door you to the next area.
I think that can actually be what you do. Like, you have a section where they're gonna need this deer to help them, to aid them through whatever the next little challenge is. Like, maybe it's getting across this crazy 250-foot wide gorge because it has a 300-foot dimension door. And then maybe on the other side, like, maybe this is the protector of the forest just before there's, like, this undead zone where, like, the forest is slowly, like, what is the book? What is it called? Is it The Greatest Story of All Time?
Secret
Or
Time?
what is it? What's the one where, like, they're reading a storybook and, like, this black ooze is taking over?
Never-ending story.
Never-ending Story, that's what it is.
Yeah.
The one that Cameron just referenced.
I did. I said Falcor from the Neverending Story.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say from the
hear you 'cause I
Neverending
was
Story.
talking.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say from the Never-ending Story, but Falcor is
Well, if I didn't
Never-ending
know the name of the thing I was trying to reference, and you said someone from that thing, that's not really going to help me now, is it, guys?
Well,
Who doesn't know Falcor? You uncultured swine.
Okay.
piece of shit.
Falcor!
I knew the name, but I haven't seen that movie. But anyways, so that's what I'm thinking is, like, there's some kind of blight or plague taking over this Feywild forest, and so it's, like, slowly creeping across, and maybe that's why your players come into this area, and, like, none of the other Fey folk will go over there. None of them will actually go into that area because they don't want to die, because they're highly susceptible to whatever this blight is,
Mhm.
or plague is.
Yeah.
And so the only one that will go over there is this guide, and this guide, they're not given a description, they're not given a name, they're nothing. They say you have to go find this guide, and they'll help you get over there. And the only reason he can do it is because he can teleport, first of all, so he's never there long enough to get too much contact to result in him getting, corrupted. And then he also has this sunbeam kind of ability where he can blast away the blight long enough for him to get either a straight line to get out of there or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And so
because if
they
it's like
need
a
to
shadow,
go-
his light kind of cancels it out for a minute.
Yeah. And then, like, he can take him as far as he can, but basically they need to find, like, whatever is in the middle of this, like, obelisk or pyramid or some kind of magical object that was forced into this plane, and that's why it's causing this blight or this plague in the area. So your party goes in there and has to meet this guy. Well, what if we give him a dark form too? Like, if your party doesn't save him or solve this problem, he has a dark form too. What do you think?
And then you have to fight that form?
Yeah, like if you first come across him, and if you try to attack him, then he runs. Well, he runs in the wrong direction, and now he's stuck in this blight. And because you guys injured him in the battle, like you let them fight him, and then as they fight him and wear him down, instead of letting your party kill him, you let him dimension door and run away. And when he runs away, because he's so weak, he can't protect himself against the blight. And now the blight takes over him, and now you have to fight him.
I like it. Like he was white and like gleaming, and now he comes back and he's black and he's got red eyes, and instead of like mist, he's stepping on, it's like shadow, and there's like shadow like emanating off of his fur. It's like and kind of like trickling away.
It's the nothing, like never-ending story.
Yes. So then it would be Moonbeam.
Yep.
Still give him Dimension Door.
Yep.
And then multi-attack. I think we should make it harder because they fucking brought this on themselves. You want to be murder hobos? You're gonna pay for it.
This definitely. So this gives me vibes of like the yin yang, sun and moon from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Throw that in there. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
Definitely.
I don't know if you know this, Cameron, but we love Avatar, and
we're huge Avatar fans.
We've definitely talked about Avatar. I don't know, 8-10 times on this show. Alone.
Yes.
It comes up a lot.
So I have the dark version is Deer plus Moonbeam. Give him Dimension Door with a multi-attack of three swipes with his horns at 1d10 each. And then he also gets a trample attack with 2d12. And that's like that shadow trample where it's like if you're in dark light or you're in like dim light, he can trample straight through you without slowing down, and it's 2d12. What do you think? Maybe a dex save, a very high dex save.
Yeah, like a dex save of like 16, 17.
Yeah,
to get out of the way of this, and then
dex of 17. I love it. Well, what do you think of your first adventure into the creature creation corner?
It's pretty neat. I like that you guys kind of change and fudge the stats in order to make it more powerful or less powerful, or how it should be specifically.
Yeah, by the way, all those stats, we'll just beef those up. Like, I don't think there should be any negatives except for in maybe intelligence. No. I think its lowest stat should be a 0.
Yeah. And well, I agree.
Like in the modifier.
Yeah. And we'll pass all of that info on to our stat puncher. And he will make a stat block for this, and we'll be posting up the stat block as well as Bruce's drawing of the creature, and we'll post that on our socials.
Ooh, this is going to be fun to draw.
Yeah.
I just realized that. That's going to be really fun to draw. I think I've drawn a deer before. Oh, I have to draw the dark version too? Hell yeah. So let's, yeah. Okay. What's next? We got some questions?
So
let's answer our question.
So I wanted to switch things up a little bit tonight, and I kind of passed my segment on to Cameron because he has that amazing radio announcer voice, and I want to hear more of it. So what I have done is I have, as usual, trolled the forums and have found some great forum questions, and even our favorite Bruce, a Yahoo Answer question.
Oh, do you know they're shutting down?
That makes sense. No one uses it.
Well, I know.
I mean, use it.
I struggled to find. I really just wanted a Yahoo Answer question. I struggled to find one. I searched forever to find a question on Yahoo Answers, and it's still only mediocre. But
that sucks. Anyways.
So I found all of those, and I screenshotted them, and I sent them to Cameron, and Cameron is going to read our questions tonight.
Here I go. This question comes from Wertbag. I think I said that right. Or Vertbag.
Yeah, this is a Vertbag.
Vertbag. In our current campaign, we haven't yet had a TPK, but we've come dangerously close. The discussion came up as to how we would handle it, but we didn't really have a clear idea. Throwing months of play in the bin and scrapping the campaign doesn't make sense, but allowing everyone to survive due to the plot armor doesn't play well either. The solution I think I'd run with would be you all wake up bloodied and naked in a dungeon, then make a plot out of recovery. However, that only works with combat to humanoids. TPK via magic, traps, or beasts shouldn't go there. I have heard people use a rewind, jump back to the last save point kind of thing, but that doesn't feel like it punished failure. Any thoughts around how to keep it scary without it ending the campaign?
Keep it scared without ending the campaign.
So, what I personally would do if I spent all this time writing a campaign and then they made bad choices and had a TPK, I would have them just straight up reroll new characters. And when they reroll new characters, you can go about it a couple different ways. You can say that it's like the next generation, like these are the kids of your adventurers, or I know that doesn't work for some characters because a lot of them are into the family line or whatever, or they can have it be the siblings, family members of the characters. That could work. And of course there's going to be that rogue that always says, I don't have a family, I was an orphan. Another thing you can do is, your party was known and a lot of people knew about the quest you were going on. So when word spread of your death, this other party decided to pick up the baton and carry it across the finish line. So you have a new party group, and they're picking up where you left off, but you all have to roll new characters.
Mm-hmm. One thing I've seen before is where if you have a TPK because your party's made bad decisions or whatever, what you do is you have them roll the new characters, but they're playing in a world where the bad guy won. So your party didn't stop the big bad guy, well then that big bad guy succeeded, and now you're playing in the world that he's created. And so as a DM, you can just play everything super dark, or you can play it like whoever your bad guy was is like a trickster or something, and like is impersonating the king, and now there's actually times of prosperity. And so like, you hear about this group of people who tried to kill the great and prosperous king, who's only brought good things and everything to the world, and now they have to try and figure out, well, what happened? Like this bad guy was a big bad guy, and or if I understand the question correctly, this is like trying to show your party that things can get bad quick. So one of the things you can do is you have the big baddie show up, and not in a confrontation with them, but you have them show up and just like while they're interacting with the party, they just raise their hand and like snap, and then the village around them just collapses dead. Or you give them the ultimatum problem where it's like they're confronted with the big bad guy, they're battling him and he's making his way out of town. Well, he goes to launch a fireball and he it totally goes over the party's head, and they're like, well, what are you doing? You missed. Well, he wasn't aiming for you. He was aiming for the orphanage. And now the orphanage is on fire, and then the city's slowly catching fire. So yeah, you can try and go catch him, or you can try and save all the people from the town, but it's up to you. And, like, just try and show them that this big bad guy has a lot of power. That can be scary.
So I think the question kind of revolves around the fact that he is, as a DM, he has almost had a TPK, and he's wondering what he would do in a TPK scenario.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't want it to be like just a rewind, a load from last save point kind of a thing, because he feels there's no, like, then if that's what's going to happen, the players are going to play a lot more willy-nilly and not really care if their characters die. He wants there to be a consequence, but he doesn't want to scrap his whole campaign. So he was just kind of, he or she was looking for an idea on how to keep his campaign going, but also have a negative reinforcement for your character dying. It's not,
how about this idea? So what if you did do the save point idea, which doesn't help you, right? Because it just lets your guys' players play however they want. But as the save point starts over, they realize that other NPCs in their proximity, or they've accumulated along the way, or like family members of the players, are dead. So they got to restart, but at the cost of someone they loved. So like, yeah, your life was saved, but it was at the cost of your little sister, or your, the baker NPC that you guys adopted from that town and whatever. Or, you can pick NPCs that you kill off, and one for each of your players. And then now the whole storyline is different because those NPCs are dead. And anytime they bring them up, they're like, dude, that guy died like a long time ago. Or like, they don't even know who you're talking about. Like, dude, your little sister died with your mom and dad in the town that burned down. That's why you're a rogue now. And, whatever it is. Or you can have it be like the 5 years later thing. So like, maybe the big bad guy hasn't succeeded just yet. Or he's just gotten into power, and now you're having your players roll new characters who knows something about, or it's still within proximity of the old campaign, to where you're not having to scrap the whole thing. Or you have them roll and they all be villains.
Have it a switch side.
Yeah, have them play villains who are like slowly seeing that the Mad King is mad, and they have to try and unseat him from this side.
Yeah, lots of good ideas there.
Choices.
Lots of options.
I think we answered that one pretty good.
Okay.
I don't think there's many more ways to explore that one. Cameron, hit me with another one.
Let's see. Oh, I like this one. This one is also... So that last question was from D&D Beyond. This one as well is from D&D Beyond. From
D&D Beyond!
Vovui 1, I believe. What's the difference between being lawful good, neutral good, and chaotic good? Are lawful good characters good by the standards of their societies? If a lawful good character were in a town where doing evil is a law and considered good, then would they do evil? If they followed the law, then they would be lawful evil. On the other hand, if they didn't follow the law, they would be chaotic good. Are chaotic characters defined by a lack of impulse control, or some aspects of psychopathy, being a psychopath? It sounds like the lawful alignment reflects social conformity, and the chaotic alignment reflects psychopathy or sociopathy. I think both might have behavioral issues. You're crazy, chaotic, or you're subservient, lawful. So would neutral be more stable?
So I think he is twisting up what we would think of in our world as lawful and chaotic and good and evil. So that's not really how D&D breaks it down. Lawful, correct me when I'm wrong, Bruce.
Okay.
Lawful just means you follow a certain code.
A structure.
Yeah, you follow a structure or a code. Whatever that is. Mm-hmm. So it could be the law of the land. It could be your church's views on things. It could be your own personal code. But you always stick to this certain set of rules that you have. Mm-hmm. And like I said, that could be society's rules, whatever they may be. That could be, like I said, your own set of rules. It could be your church's, whatever. It doesn't matter. You follow a certain set of your of internal rules all the time. That's how you live your life. Chaotic is you do things kind of on a whimsy. It's just like you don't have certain rules. In one situation, you might do this, but in a different situation or the same situation on a different day, you might do the exact opposite thing. You might save a girl, today and then kill that girl tomorrow. It's just...
Yeah.
You don't follow any rules. You're doing whatever you feel at that moment. And then neutral is just that. It's kind of somewhere in the center where neutral usually, I believe, goes off of self, right? Isn't it? Like
I think chaotic more goes for is what goes most for like what is going to benefit me. Or, like, this is the good that I see, or this is kind of like my definition of good. So, neutral is kind of like, what is good in this situation, like, situationally.
Yeah.
I have the definitions if you want me to read them up.
Hit me up with them.
Okay, so Lawful Good, this is from Fandom. It says Lawful Good. A lawful good character is a protector. The iconic example of lawful good is a paladin, a holy knight who protects the weak and destroys evil. So there's that structure we were talking about. Like, they have a goal and they follow it in a certain way and they answer to certain beings. There's like a hierarchy basically that they follow. That's lawful anything is going to be, they have a hierarchy that they answer to. Like lawful evil, you might have a demon, but a demon is below like a pit lord, pit fiend or whatever. And so they'll answer to that pit fiend basically. So there's a hierarchy. A good way to remember this one is the nickname for this alignment of lawful good is the Crusader. They're following a single purpose, trying to follow it as close to the book as they can. They're the Crusader. Neutral good. A neutral good character believes in altruism over all else. Which I didn't know what altruism meant, so I looked it up. It says a belief in or practice of disinterested in selfless concern or well-being of others. So one of the examples says some may choose to work with vulnerable elderly people out of altruism. So it's like selflessness or self-sacrifice. That's altruism. So like in that situation, they also give it the nickname of the benefactor. So a neutral good character is doing what's good for others in that situation because it's good. Chaotic good is a chaotic good character believes in freedom as the highest virtue. The iconic example of chaotic good is Robin Hood, who rebels against authority as a way to protect the poor from poverty and suffering. This one is also known as the rebel. So doing good, but doing good through bad. So stealing and robbing others to make sure that everyone gets a share is kind of the way to look at that. Like, they see that structure, but they don't follow it. They actually abuse it.
So yeah, good, neutral, evil is going to be based off of your realm you're playing in. Whatever is the socially accepted, socially looked at way of doing things is going to be good. Evil is the opposite of that. And then as far as lawful, neutral, chaotic, it's following a structure or not following a structure and doing it your own way. Usually the chaotics are going to be selfish and self-serving most of the time. Whereas lawful is going to be following the hierarchy, following the rules. So yeah, it just depends on.
I do like that as flavor, though. Like, if you go to a society where evil is the law, that as a DM, you kind of put the flavor in there of like, well, you doing good things is going to, get you into trouble, which I know is weird for you. But, if you give that beggar an apple, you're going to get arrested, and it's going to be, whatever the penalty is for stealing is going to be the penalty for you taking an apple you own and giving it to someone who's impoverished. Like, they should have just taken the initiative and robbed you. Like, I like that idea as flavor, is that you can get in trouble for doing something good in that society. But for the most part, your character's alignment is what they see as their truth, and you kind of want your character to stay as close to that as possible. Some DMs are sticklers for it, and they will actually change your alignment on how you play. So if you say, oh, I'm, lawful neutral, or, lawful good, or whatever it is, well, if you start playing like, well, I'm going to rob that guy, and I'm going to rob this guy, and I'm going to rob that guy, but I'm going to give all that money to an orphanage, like, then you're more of a chaotic good, not a lawful good. And that is all.
That is all.
Asked and answered.
Asked and answered. Is there something else you want to talk about, Bruce, before we go into another question?
Nope, not really.
Aliens.
I saw a couple of movies and TV shows this weekend. And the whole time I was watching them, I'm just like, man, this would make such a good campaign. Because it wasn't a far stretch. Like, they were very D&D-esque shows and movies.
Okay.
So I was watching, first off, I found out there's a movie called Your Highness. And this movie was actually made in the early 2000s, and I just never knew about it. Apparently my wife went and saw it in theaters. She knew all about it, which is very off color for her. Like, she doesn't normally like movies like this. But she went and saw it in theaters, and she thought it was good. And I'm like, okay, if you think it's good, and it's kind of has a D&D vibe, I am watching this movie. And I watched it. It's super good.
What's it about?
It's a little bit,
Brief
it's kind of
synopsis.
slapsticks comedy a little bit.
Okay.
In the normal, it's made by Danny McBride and James Franco, if that gives you an idea of the kind of movie it is.
Yeah.
So, Danny McBride, James Franco, Natalie Portman, and who is the other girl?
Zooey Deschanel.
Zooey Deschanel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Zooey Deschanel.
Never seen it before.
No, but I told you about it earlier.
Yes.
So, it starts off with James Franco is the prince of this kingdom. He is like, he's a knight. He's the badass in the movie, right? He is like, if he was a knight, he'd be Lancelot. You know what I mean? He's the knight no one can beat. He goes out on quests all the time, comes back with all these crazy monsters killed. He's famous. Everyone loves him. He's the great.
He's like
awesome.
Hercules before the fall.
Yes.
Okay.
And Danny McBride is his younger brother, who is like a total idiot.
Okay.
The movie starts
Mr.
off.
Bean.
Yeah, the movie starts off with his father sending him to the land of the dwarves to try to make a treaty, and he ends up sleeping with the dwarf king's wife, and they try to hang him.
Oh, that's not good, bud.
And they tar and feather his squire and all this stuff, but since they're dwarves, it doesn't work out well for him it doesn't work out well for the dwarves. It works out well for him because they go to hang him and they drop the floor out from underneath him. But he's like 3 feet taller than them, so he just kind of lands on his feet and then he pulls the rope off and runs. You know,
that's so funny.
And like, he's always getting high and just like totally getting rid of all of his responsibilities as a prince. But there is a mad sorcerer in the realm who keeps creating these evil beasts, which is what James Franco's character keeps going and killing, is these made up beasts that this sorcerer keeps creating. And then the last one he killed, he brings back a wife with him, a girl he's going to marry. The sorcerer shows up at the wedding, stops the wedding, and re-kidnaps this girl that he had already kidnapped because she's a prophecy girl that he needs to have sex with her during this full moon, or it's like 2 moons aligning, and then he can gain all this power and take over the world. So he kidnaps James Franco's like love, and they finally, like, the dad has finally had enough with Danny McBride's character, and he's like, you're going with your brother on this quest to become a man. I'm sick of your childish bullshit. Like, go. So then it's kind of the story of, you know, they go and their whole party kind of turns on them and is actually following the sorcerer and helping the sorcerer out, but they're trying to get, you know, to his lair so they can kill him and rescue Zooey Deschanel's character. And along the way, they meet Natalie Portman's character, who's a ranger, what I would call a ranger, like plays perfectly into that kind of scenario.
Class, yeah.
But like a total badass ranger, like Legolas stat, like ranger. And they end up kind of going on this quest together, and Danny McBride becomes a pretty badass knight. And anyways, good movie.
So, it looks, I just looked it up on IMDb, and it looks really funny.
It's a really good movie. I've seen it a couple times.
So
I want to watch it.
I really want to run this as a campaign, or
okay, how would you do
like a quick 6-shooter. and I really want to straight just follow the movie, and I would like straight up like I'd be like, okay, you know, if we have, you know, four different people in our party, you know, okay, you're a fighter, and you know, start them out
so
for like a
you
high
basically
level.
pre-make the characters and say like, okay, who wants to be who?
Yeah, but like not tell them what it is. Just be like, okay, you can, you know, I have these 4 options. I have a fighter, or I have 2 fighters. I have a ranger and a bard. Mm-hmm. Pick which one you want, and then, okay, the 2 people that picked fighter. Okay, flip a coin. All right, and if it lands head, you know, whoever wins the coin toss. Okay, do you want to start off as a high level, well-traveled fighter, or do you want to start off as a low-level fighter who's going to level up quickly?
Oh, okay.
And then have the high-level ranger, and then the same thing with the bard is going to start off kind of low-level, but he's going to level up pretty quick.
I like it. Why don't you put this together and we'll play it? Like, we'll play one of the 6 shooters like every other episode or every couple episodes. That way you have time to prep and all that stuff. And then we'll actually play it because it sounds fun as shit.
All right. But yeah, I mean, like throughout the 6 shooter, basically that high level fighter is not going to level at all. That high level ranger is not going to take a level at all. But those 2 low level guys are going to like level up quick. And by the end, kind of be almost the same level as the 2 high level ones. But I think that whole idea. By the time the
big boss comes, yeah.
I think that whole idea would be super fun to play.
And then you could throw like crazy monsters and like weird challenges and stuff like that. It sounds like it'd be good.
Yeah, and at one point,
it sounds like it'd be fun for players who've played for a while. You can have them play the higher level characters who aren't going to advance, and then those newcomers will kind of get to play the low level characters who advance quickly, so they'll get to, you know, see how the advancements is and get a, you know, work their way into new abilities and stuff like that.
Or even if it's players that have all played like a lot, then I think it's still fun to. It's fun both ways. It's fun to start off high level and be a high level character. We have people in our party that love that, right? Like, Chris, for example. Chris loves it when we do a one shot. He hates it when we do low level stuff. He always wants to start off high. So some people like playing that high level character, and so you start him off as a high level. And then, like me, I love the advancement. So I would love to start off as that low level character, even though I've played a lot. I love starting off as that low level character and advancing them. So, you know, I think it's fun for both sides. And like I said, it was just a thought I had, an idea after watching, you know, that movie. I also thought Shadow and Bone, the show I've been watching, would make a really fun campaign too. We're not going to get into that one tonight. We don't have the time. But like, I think it'd be fun. Just like, I just wanted to throw it out there to other people too. This idea, just like, hey, you can just straight jack
a movie,
pull a movie you like, whatever, jack it, and just make it and play through it, run through it exactly as it happens, and just see where it goes.
So instead of answering another question for a forum post, let's if we can do one more thing before we close out. Let's just talk on that real quick of like people who are just getting into D&D. Something fun you can do is, which I've had that you and I have actually played with this idea in our heads a couple times, of like finding some kind of nerd content that you and your buddies all like, you know, whether it's you know, Jurassic World, or it's you know, Supernatural,
Twilight,
or it's you know, whatever it is.
We've talked about with Cameron Dead Space, him taking Dead Space into a campaign, Fallout,
and then what you can do is just literally pick a character from each of those. So like if you have 4 buddies and you want to play Supernatural, well, you have the players or the prospective players pick which characters they want to play as. You find someone who's seasoned, or you kind of work your way through the D&D Beyond prompts of how to build a character, and you build the character as close to those characters from the show as you can, and then you put together a one shot or a 6-shooter like we call it, and then you play literally as those characters. So like you play as Dean, or you play as the dad from the Supernatural series, or you
John
play
Winchester,
or you play as what's his name, the angel guy,
Castiel.
Yeah. And then
you picked a subject that I
know, that's why I was hoping you would fill that stuff in. Or like from Dead Space, you build a couple characters. You build like, some of the crazy people from the ship who you interact with, or you build out a couple different of those guys who are sent in to investigate, and you have them run through it. Or like for me, I think playing a Jurassic Park game would be really fun. Like playing the original Jurassic Park, building each one of those characters and giving them certain aspects from the D&D classes, that would make it fun to play in this world where it's like, yeah, there's real ass dinosaurs here, And then that would make encounters really easy too, because you have someone build it where like, okay, we're starting out, something bad has just happened. You know it. You're not near it, but you know that the power's out on these, whatever containment systems and all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, well, where do you want to go? Well, I know that my friends and family were over here. Well, now you have NPCs involved and stuff. I think that'd be really fun. You build characters from a movie or a show you like, and then try and build a one-shot around that. And you let the faults and the failures of your group influence what happens next. So it's not like going to follow the exact plot of that movie. So like the Jurassic Park scene when, is it John Hammond who runs out with a flare and he's like, hey, yelling at the T-Rex, and he's trying to get the T-Rex's attention so it stops attacking the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you roll really low on like performance or intimidation or persuasion, whatever you're going to try and roll to do the flare and getting the thing's attention. You roll really low. Well, the dinosaur doesn't pay attention to that. He just keeps going and now he eats the children. How do you feel about that? What happens next? That's like. Or the Velociraptor scene where they're stuck in the kitchen. Well, you roll really low on stealth. Well, guess what? You're fucked. Now you have to fight a Velociraptor or a group of Velociraptors. Yeah. I think it just could be really fun to like pick a game, a movie, a TV show, pick a couple characters from it, go through the D&D Beyond prompts of, the guided like, well, when you want to build a character, you want to do this, this, and this. You go through the guided prompts and try and build that character as best you can to that character in the show, and then try and play it. I think it'd be really fun.
I think so. All right, before we get off, I think I want to do one more question. And specifically, I want to do the Yahoo's Answers question, because we haven't done a Yahoo Answer in a long time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about you, but I got off of several times while I was here.
Oh, man.
God.
I feel gross.
It sounds like you're very sticky right now.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man, I feel grosser.
All right.
So you want the Yahoo Questions question?
Give me a Yahoo.
Answers. Yahoo Answers.
Yes.
This is from Frango, and I mean, you must have had to search hard for this, because this was from 6 years ago, sir. Quite a while ago. It says right there, 6 years ago, Frango asked this question. My goodness, he's been waiting for an answer all this time, and now you're finally going to give him one.
Jeez.
I did not even look at the time frame.
Dear Lord.
That's my bad.
In D&D 5e, there's some rule or advice about throwing yourself in front of an attack, spell, or trap when it's about to hit a friend. Someone have any suggestions about it, besides being a turn action game? Thanks.
What?
So he's asking.
It's so hard to understand.
He's asking if there is a way that he can sacrifice basically himself. Like if he's a high con guy and someone throws a spell or an attack at like their wizard that's going to die really quickly. Is there a way he can throw himself in front of the attack to save his buddy?
I think, mechanically, I think it has to be something your character has. Like, I think Sentinel allows you to, or Shield Master allows you to do that, where you can throw your shield in front of an attack. I think it also depends on your DM. Like, if you're within conceivable range, and you can talk to your DM and be like, well, I want to do this. Like, here's what I want to do. Real quick as a reaction, I want to, jump in front of so-and-so to protect them. in this moment. Like, I know it's going to be a big hit, or I know it's a nat 20 attack. I'll take the full damage, whatever it's going to be, before they roll it, you know? Like, I'll do it. And depending on your DM, they may let you do that. Like, I think I would let you guys do that. I think I would. Depending.
You're a nicer DM than I.
Yeah.
I would have to, like, if I was DMing, I would be like, if you want to do that, then you have to basically be going before them in initiative, and you have to tell me that you're holding your action, and the trigger is when the bad guy is going to, on his turn, when he throws a spell at someone, you're using your action to jump in front of it and take that damage.
So I could see reconciling it like that. Like, say, okay, if you want to do this, you can. You're going to take the full damage, and your next turn is going to be, you're not going to have a next turn. You're just basically going to get skipped next turn, and then you can get up the turn after that. So, like, yes, you want to go ahead and jump in front of this nat 20 attack. So, like, Thello, you want to jump in front of the attack that's headed towards Davin, because you know he's soft and squishy, and he's your sneaky attack boy. You want to protect him as best you can, and it totally fits your character. So, yes, I'll allow you to do this. You're going to take the full nat 20 damage, which you would have to say this before I roll damage, too. And then you would say, you know, well, I want to jump in front of him and protect him from this attack. I'm like, okay, well, you can do that. You're going to take the full damage. He's going to be protected, but you're going to lose your next turn if you do it. So to allow you to do this, you're going to have to give up your next turn, action, bonus action, and movement to do this. Do you still want to do this? Okay. And then we would play it out cinematically, kind of like, if it fits the scene, like, okay, your next turn, you just get a brief free action of talking or reacting or whatever it is, and then we'll move on to the next player in line. And then after that, you're right back in the order.
Yep.
Because I think it could be really good if it's like a momentous occasion, or if it's like a big move, like, you know, Davin is the only one who has the spell that's going to do damage to this guy, and you guys are all, like, you know, just running in place trying to figure out what to do because you can't really attack him. Maybe you guys don't have magic weapons or whatever it is. He's the only one who can do that. So I see you sacrificing yourself to protect him so that you guys still have a way to attack. Like, that seems like a big enough moment, and it seems like a big enough self-sacrifice in that moment to where in the story, even though the mechanics don't work or you don't have the right feats or whatever it is, I might still let you do it, but you're going to pay for it on the back end, like, whatever it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could see it being, like, really awesome, because could you imagine you're in that final battle with your big boss, and he's about to smite your, you know, your little friend who has, like, whatever the MacGuffin is, whatever this magic weapon is that has to be there to kill this bad guy. He's about to kill him, and you're going to lose that weapon. Well, I decide to dive in the way and take this hit. That's what I'm going to do. I know it's going to cost me my turn, but I'm going to do it. And then, like, can you imagine, like, just the mental picture of, like, you know, Thello dives, you know, Thello, the Goliath paladin, you know, channeling the pure energy of the deity that he's chosen, of the god of self-sacrifice, dives in the way of this bolt of energy, blocking it, taking the full damage, and allowing Davin to gain, you know, a sneak attack on this guy because he wasn't expecting it, and now, you know, whatever it is, boom, done. Like, I love that. I think it in my style, like, I would allow it because it'd be something big. That may even gain you a feat of, like, Sentinel or something, because you're proving yourself worthy of the feat or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
But to answer the question, is there's certain feats that would, yes, allow you to do it, and depending on your DM, I think that's the answer.
I think that's the answer, and I think that's also about us being out of time.
Yeah, I think so. As we normally do, some housekeeping. Thank you all for joining us today on Sliding into the DMs. However you found us, whether you were directed here by a friend, whether you just found us on your own, whether you're a friend of ours, whatever it is, we thank you and appreciate you. You can always reach out to us and ask questions for the show by finding us on social medias, by typing in at SitDMs1 on just about every social media platform. That is at SITDMS1, and you can send your you know, messages, your memes, your questions, whatever it is, We're pretty active on the Facebook group. You can find us there. What else? Am I missing anything? Oh, you can also reach us on email, which is
emailthedms@gmail.com. So emailthedms@gmail.com.
And if you can, please leave us a review on iTunes, Podbean. We're everywhere, man. So wherever you're listening to this, if you could leave us a review or a comment, that'd be awesome. We greatly appreciate that. Also, just spread the word. Let other people know about us. We don't advertise. We just kind of come up with these ideas and put them out here and hope that other people hear them. So the more you guys talk about it, the more you spread it around, the more we can do, the more ability we have to reach other people and stuff like that. So we appreciate you, whether you do it or not. As long as you're here, we're happy you're here.
And please don't be afraid to send in your questions.
Yes.
Like today, we read a couple of forum questions. I didn't have any questions from our listeners, so don't be like, oh, if I send in a question, they're not going to read it. With how little questions I have right now, I can pretty much guarantee you send in a question, we are going to get to it and answer it. We will always take preference on listener questions over forum questions and random stuff I find. So if you as a listener send in a question, we will definitely do our best to get it answered.
Also, I was thinking about if you guys have creatures that you've seen in movies or you've seen or you're thinking about or whatever it is, if you want to send in creature combinations or whatever the movie it's from, you can send those in and I will definitely try and stat those out or, bring them up to the group and see what we think and we'll definitely give it a run and see what we can do with it. I think it'd be totally rad. So now we come to the part of the show where we go ahead and read our quips for the episode, and I will go first. Did you guys hear that our bard just took up nude painting?
No.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable. He takes off all his clothes and then he starts painting things. It's awful. It's the worst. I keep trying to tell him that nude paintings are like paintings of people who are nude, and he insists that no, it's painting while nude. Damn it, Cameron.
He's got to show off that charismatic. You know what I mean?
He's got to whip his charisma around.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, who's next? I think it was Cameron.
Cameron, I rode low.
Put your clothes on and read your quip.
Oh, I gotta put my clothes back on. Well, it's funny because mine is actually also bard related. What do you call a bard who's also a healer?
What?
Bard who's a healer.
The Band-Aid.
Oh, God damn it.
Son of a bitch.
Band-Aid.
Hey, Bruce.
Damn it. Yes, sir.
So, this kind of ties into our Lawful Good paladin question earlier. Would a paladin kill a devil on sight?
A paladin kill a devil on sight?
Yeah. Like as soon as they saw it, would they kill a devil?
Yes.
They smite.
Oh, God. You're the worst.
They smite.
That was the worst one we've had.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh. Well, as always, sorry. And fare thee well and adventure onward.
Spice. Poof, there I am.